Hi guys, welcome to our very first event at 2026. Super happy to start this event with you today. Hi, hello. Yeah, so messages is working. Please check out the messages so you can ask questions right there or you can communicate there. And there is also a Q&A section. You can check it out and put your questions there. I will go through them during Q&A section. And while we are waiting for people who is joining us now, I encourage you to make some networking and share your LinkedIn in a message section. So everyone, welcome to my LinkedIn, and I will be happy to add you there and share your LinkedIn if you would like to have new network connections. We will wait for a couple more minutes before we start. This session will be recorded, and after the recording, after the session, me and a speaker, we will decide will we share this presentation and recording publicly or not. So, because sometimes, we share some very private and sensitive information here. So in this case, we would like to check it twice before publication. Here you can see also a QR code for our LinkedIn page, NerdSpay LinkedIn page, and probably you are also subscribed to our Luma event calendar. And if not, I highly recommend you to do so that now. Okay, while I think that quite many people already joined the conversation, happy to see so many of you and happy to see so many familiar faces and new one as well. So can we see the next slide, please, Elizaveta? I know you can hear me. Yeah, so I will add a few words about who I am and about NerdSpay if you're occasionally for the first time on our events. My name is Julia. I'm a founder of NerdSpay. NerdSpay is a company and a community of talented people here in Finland. We've been established in 2019 in Helsinki, so it's already more than 5 years that we exist. And it includes tech communities and informational channels, also those kind of webinars and events. We organized more than 7 online job fairs event and 3 offline tech job fairs event. And for now, so we've been always helping people to find a job in Finland, but since the job market situation changed significantly, now we switch for employer of record services. And we believe that this is our best way to support you to live in Finland, to stay here legally, and be hired. So how employer of record works is that you find remote job elsewhere in the world, and we make a contract with your client and make a hiring agreement with you, so you will become officially hired person for the Finnish company, and you receive salary here in Finland, and we proceed with all necessary payments, pension security contribution, different insurances, unemployment funds, and so on. So everything regarding Finnish labor law. So this is about employer of record, but I believe that we will have more information today about that. And we also keep our hands on resident permit extension and relocation. There's cases which happen in like every week, and soon. For now, we're now making like last confirmation with a lawyer with whom we will go through new tenders for permanent resident permits. So check out our notification not to miss this webinar as well. And for now, I would like to give the floor to our wonderful speaker, Elizaveta Rusakova. Elizaveta is our community member, and now she is a head of HR operations at global tech company with more than 15 years of global experience in HR and people operation. And right now, Elizaveta works remotely from Finland, so she has quite solid experience in the field, which we are very interested to know more. Elizaveta, are you here to continue?
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm welcoming everyone who found time during the first busy weeks of January to join us here today. So I'm here to share with everyone who is interested my experiences of being on the both sides of remote work setup, working on the company side as an HR professional and working as an employee through such an interesting setup as employer of record, EOR. And just a few words about myself. And I think, Julia, if you were, are we making the recording? Is this fine? We started the recording, all good?
Yes, recording is started, and yeah.
Okay. So just a brief introduction about myself. So I've been working in HR, like people field, for many years, and the recent 15 years I spent within tech industry, working within global tech companies. And I've been moving from, different parts of HR within HR, working in recruitment and HR operations and total rewards and managing teams. So my experience with EOR and with different providers that help companies hire throughout the world and different countries is quite wide. So I think the last 4 or 5 years, I've been closely working with different hiring setups. So I'm here to share my experience as a candidate, as an employee, and also the points of view from the company side. So been living here in Helsinki, Finland for almost 4 years now, soon. And just happy to say that I'm kinda into the challenges that we are all facing here, international talents residing in Finland. However, still learning on the go, and just getting to know new things, experiences. So this is a lifetime learning journey for all of us, I guess. So together with Julia, we will be doing some pauses after the slides. So I prepared some slides so that will help me keep a track on the narrative, the conversations. So we will be making some pauses for questions. And I would like to start with introducing you to a current global work landscape. What we as people professionals, HR professionals, businesses see from this side, of hiring globally, and what we see as candidates when we are exploring new opportunities on the market for ourselves. So after the COVID era, let's say, we can definitely say that remote, like fully remote work, is here to stay. So it's no longer an experiment. And during the COVID, businesses got used to build their operations and build their hiring processes around remote collaboration, which was kind of a forced change. It was forced by the COVID, but now I think the companies, many of the businesses, they reviewed and reassessed the way that they hire globally. And the good news for those who are looking for remote opportunities, fully remote or hybrid opportunities, is that more businesses are getting open for hiring fully remote workers and no longer afraid of this. I would like to emphasize that for the tech companies, this is more of a default option at the moment, because they are looking for narrow skills, they are looking for specific skills, they are looking for highly qualified talent. And if the company, the business is headquartered in, let's say, a small country with a limited talent, with a limited economy, then they do go and look into the neighbors, the neighborhood, and the other locations. So I would say for the growing businesses, for the tech startups, scale-ups, this option is a great alternative when they face the hiring challenges nowadays. For the candidates, it brings quite a number of benefits, and the most important one is that you are no longer limited by the geography of your residence. So living in Finland, you can explore other countries, other locations. So you can look at the businesses and the companies that are headquartered in US, in Germany, in, I don't know, Asia, and you can get partner with them. You can collaborate with those companies and being employed with those companies without moving countries, without changing your residence, changing your physical location. So, however, yeah, we see that many businesses and the candidates getting used to speak about the full remote work as something, a new norm. Still, we see there are some legal, cultural, operational concerns, questions around this topic that still might confuse the both sides, the candidates and the businesses, the companies. So let's say the both sides of this interesting phenomenon of full remote work are going through the challenge and trying to figure out their way through this. And both sides has questions and answers, and both sides trying to figure out how to smoothly hire remote people. The companies try to figure out how to smoothly hire remote people, and candidates try to figure out how to unlock the market of those fully remote positions for themselves. So here is some, a snapshot of the recent research that been shared on the Euronews on the recent, just investigation and comparison, how the work setup really looks for the businesses, for the companies across EU. So if you have time, you just can find more information on how it goes for the specific parts of the globe that you're interested in. I was looking at the EU just to see how many companies, report that they do provide partially or fully remote working from home options, or they only keep the office options for their businesses. So the green zone is where the companies that provide hybrid and fully remote setup for their positions for the candidates. Hybrid setup is when the companies require their employees to be present and in the office for some time in a week, for 1 or 2 or 3 days in a week, or some specific number of days during the month, or a quarter. So this means not a fully remote setup. And in this green zone, we also can see the companies that do allow fully remote setup. So their employees are free to stay at home and not attend the office like never. They are expected to travel. They're expected to join company-wide meetups or business events based on the role that they are performing, but they're not anyhow required to join the office facilities on the regular basis for no specific reason. So you might see here, what is interesting is Finland is on the 3rd place. So meaning 70% of the companies coming from Finland, they do allow the hybrid setup and fully working setup, and only 30% expect people to go to the office. So this is only office work that they do offer. We know that the businesses differ. This research, I guess, was covering not only the tech industry, but overall different industries across the location. But I think these are numbers that we can get some insights from and get inspired by them, meaning that there is an opportunity for us to see and to look for hybrid or fully remote positions and roles, no matter where we sit or we reside in EU, let's say. And some top global hiring trends that we've been facing as businesses that hire globally, hire extensively tech industry. And what we see as candidates is that companies now, and especially in the technical field, they do hire where the skills are, where the talented people reside, not where the headquarters is. Then talent shortages are something real. They are global, and they are specifically concern the skilled talent. So no matter the narrow expertise you have, whether this, I don't know, specific technical role or some other specific scientific job that you do, skilled talent is of a high value and of a high need and a shortage. Fully remote and distributed teams are getting more common, and businesses, companies build their environments and infrastructures around healthy remote setups. So they try to help their distributed teams to collaborate effectively, efficiently. And what we see from the business side, opening local entities in many locations, in numerous locations, is quite expensive and slow for the businesses. So when we are living in the era when we need to hire rapidly, there is some talent that we need just right away. We face quite a number of challenges. If we're, let's say, hiring for a specific unique role and we find a talent in the country, where the company is not operating, it's quite an interesting challenge, to hire this person compliantly in this location. So I added here the link to the recent manpower research if you will be interested just to see. There are so many pages in this research, but some highlights, some insights on the global talent shortage around the globe. This just one screenshot that, in my opinion, shows us that you see a lot of countries, they are facing shortages in the specific skilled talent. I think you can just dive deeper and see what are those specific skills that are of a need at the moment. But we see that in Germany, for example, where the economy is developing and the tech industry is growing quite rapidly, they do face the shortage in talent. And when they need to hire more people, they start looking at hiring in other locations. Why not going to Finland to find the best developers here, or any other professionals? Why not looking at I don't know, France? Why not looking at the UK? Why not looking at the other countries? And then, being a German company, only having an entity, a legal entity representation in Germany, the companies face a lot of challenges and troubles with hiring speedily, rapidly in those new locations, but they have no idea how to do business and how to employ compliantly, and how to provide benefits, how to do payroll, how to support social contributions, pension contributions, so they stay on top of all the legal requirements and regulations of those specific countries, when they do not have this knowledge in-house and the experience in-house. And this is where the EOR setup comes into play. So here I would like to pause a bit and to see if we have any questions, comments on this part, because next slides will be devoted to the EOR and what it means for employers and employees, candidates.
So far, I do not see any questions. We've been just sharing LinkedIn, so I think that we are good to go forward.
Good. So, as I said, let's see what is the EOR, what is this about, and what opportunities and options the companies have when they are willing. Let's say we take this example with the company. Let's say that will be a tech company, a tech startup headquartered in Germany, sitting in Germany, and they get, the insights that they got short of the skilled talent because they have a number of limitations on their budget hiring, and they are not willing to compete with the strongest players on the German market, but they still want to get a very well qualified talent. So not to overspend money with beating competition on the German labor market, they are willing to look at the other locations in the other countries. What options then companies have? They can go with the employer of records provider. So they find and partner with somebody. The companies, they do have there are different business models. But let's say the simplest one is when the EOR provider, they have their own entities set up in the majority of the countries that you are looking at, and they can offer you the service of providing you the employment services in, let's say, Sweden. So this is an interesting benefit for the company that is struggling to find a proper talent. The next option for this company, for such a business, would go and open a local subsidiary, a local entity in Sweden, for example, we say this is a German company hiring in Sweden in our example. And to open an entity and make sure that the business does comply with all the local regulations in the operations and hiring and employment, they need to have knowledge, expertise, and they need to plan their budget beforehand. And they understand that it will take time for them to figure out how it's been done, how the hiring on this new market in this new country is even, happening. What are the local standards? What are the local requirements in the benefits field, in the social security field, in the health, in the health and occupational security part. So there are many aspects of compliant employment that employers should keep in mind when they do hire in new countries and new locations, if they're willing to stay compliant to the authorities of those new markets, which they would definitely want to. And the third setup is to go with hiring contractors or freelancers, which is basically an agreement, like services agreement, or let's say short-term, fixed-term project assignment, services assignment, which is basically timely bounded, and this is a specific type of contractual collaboration, which is not connected with employment. So these are basically the main options that such a company residing, headquartered in Germany, would be facing when they would want to consider hiring in Sweden, in our case. So what would they go with? They would probably go with the employer of record. They would find a provider that already have a setup, local legal entity in Sweden. In this country, they have a local internal team supporting onboarding, supporting benefits, supporting payroll, supporting all the employee life cycle. And that company would employ this candidate on their behalf, and they would fully handle, all the collaboration and all the contractual, payroll, tax-related, compliance-related operations with such a candidate, with such an employee. But for the employee, that would mean that there is a third party between the employee, the candidate, and the company that they work for, and this third party is sitting in between the business that you are considering to get hired to and between yourself. So basically, the people, employees, they are employed with the legal entity of an EOR, but they do provide work for the client company that partners with the EOR. So let's say this is a third-party setup that is beneficial for the businesses and for the candidates, for the employees. Why businesses choose an EOR model? Why would they want to? So there are different benefits. We know that there are pros and cons in basically all the setups. And this is just a decision that every business makes, considering these pros and cons and evaluating the risks or advantages of such a setup. Why businesses would go for this? They would get quite a fast access to the global talent. Let's say if your hiring manager finds or gets referred to a great talent, a great candidate that is residing in Sweden, but is willing to work with this Germany-based company. And this candidate, they have a lot to offer, but they're not willing to move. They're not willing to change locations. They're not willing to, relocate with their family to a new country. this is a really good options for such collaboration. For the business, there is no need to open a local entity, set up an in-house team, in-house HR team, in-house legal team, in-house payroll, in-house operational team to support these, local hiring. If you, let's say, consider hiring 1 or 2 or 3 or up to, 5 people in this country, there is no need for you to open an entity budget-wise. So every business will be looking at their finances and looking at how much they need to invest and what they get in return. So with the EOR setup, companies get lower legal and compliance risk. I would say that if they do collaborate with really well-known and experienced EORs, they do have a good presence on the market. EORs, they do have quite good ratings and feedbacks amongst the other businesses and amongst the candidates and the employees. You can easily get, this feedback and check if the EOR that you've been contacted by or the EORs that being offered to you by the company is really known on the market. And this market, the market of the EOR services, is developing quite fast, quite rapidly, because there is quite a good need for this now that we see on the market. For the companies, this is also a chance for them to try and test if they would be even interested, if they would be even, need to go and open an entity in Sweden. For example, they see that there is a good labor market of the talent that they short of, that they need in Sweden, and they want to try. So they go and try with the EOR, they learn how, such an employment, his employment standards, what are the employment practices in Sweden. They say, okay, this is a really interested market for us. Why not opening a legal entity there? And after partnering with the EOR, they see the benefits, or in contrary, they might see some, specific challenges or the blocking challenges, and they decide not to go to this country and try and check the other country, because it really differs dependent on the country, dependent on their local legal regulations and the laws, and some specific reporting, some specific tax systems. So it depends, right? How the company would see the specific country, the specific market of an interest for them or not. So as I already mentioned, this is especially common in tech startups, scale-ups, the companies that build distributed first teams. So they say we are fully remote from day one, and we are not limiting ourselves. So we hire around different locations. It's in our culture, it's in our DNA, because we want to build diverse teams. We want to hire around numerous countries. We want to have people representing numerous cultures within our business. This is the business side of things. This is for sure not that simple. This is for sure quite a complex story for the business to make a decision to go and partner with a EOR. But now we see that businesses very commonly see a lot of benefits with getting access to exclusive talent, really skilled talent, and in some cases, let's say, more affordable talent financially, if they would be hiring in their locations. So if they unlock countries where on the labor market, the talent is paid, less than in their company that they have headquarters, because of the cost of living, because of the economy, but they still do manage to find a great talent, then this is quite a benefit for such a business. So let's look at the candidates, benefits for the candidates, and this side of things. How it looks for you as a candidate to work through the EOR setup while living in Finland. So specifically, if you are an international talent and you require visa sponsorship or immigration support here in Finland, the EORs, they do provide such a support. So you get a legal employment in Finland with a Finnish legal entity. You get a salary paid locally, you get social security, some statutory benefits according to the local regulations. This brings you more stability, so you basically have an employment contract and all the, benefits that apply to the employment contract, you would get them. And on the other side, you get an access to the roles with the companies that otherwise would be unavailable to you. For example, you were never thinking of being employed with this really interesting company headquartered in Germany, hiring in Germany, having office in Germany. You see that they're building a great product, like technical product. You like their mission, you like the culture, you have somebody, I don't know, referring you to this company, but you are not willing to move to Germany because this is quite a serious decision for your family. And then you get to know that this company, that they are open to hiring through the EOR. This is where the things are working very good for you and the company. So the wider geography, the more opportunities we get as candidates when we're looking at the labor market nowadays. Of course, there are two sides of the medal. There are some challenges that we should be aware of. There are some challenges that the businesses should be aware of when they choose to go with EOR. And there are some challenges, some specifics that we as candidates, as employees should be aware of when we choose the EOR setup. It's just being mindful about the specific, how it works with this setup. So, reducing the ambiguity about this, asking more questions. So there are some extra communication layers which are quite understandable. You would need to communicate with the company that you're getting hired to and with the EOR. So there might be different systems and processes in place during the onboarding and your life with the company. So you might be required to sit within the internal HR systems of the company and the EOR. You might have some limited customizations of benefits. For example, the EOR setup, the specific setup in your specific country would not be allowing some of the benefits that the company is providing due to, I don't know, some complexity of this benefit setup. So you might be aware that the number of benefits that that employer, that the company provides to the employees in Germany might not be that fully available for you in your location. Because let's say they do provide benefits when the company pays for your bike commute to the office if you go to the office. So it's quite understandable that they will not be supporting this here in Finland because you are not expected to go to any offices here. So these are quite a trade-offs, not red flags. This is something that we as candidates, as employees should be aware of and just ask questions on how it works and how it's being fixed. So
may I interrupt you for a little bit because we have 20 minutes left. We have quite many questions right away. So I just wanted to check out how many slides do we have ahead, so not to, lose questions that we might have.
Yes. So we are behind the half of the slides, which is good news.
Okay.
But I will continue with the with a different pace then. And what you should be also aware of is that working remote requires some different skills, some different approach to working from you as an employee. This is a high autonomy. This is a different communication flow. This is a different communication setup. And you should be aware of this to kind of get comfortable working in such a setup. What specifically this means? For example, if your manager and or the team are sitting in another country or sitting in other different countries, so you might take into consideration that they might be working in different time zones, they might have different communication styles. There are also some cultural differences that might apply because distributed diverse team, they are coming from different cultural backgrounds and working backgrounds. So the reality is that the hours matter less, the results and the outcomes matter more. Written communications gets more of a challenge than the verbal communication when you just meet people in person. Then I would say offline and online communication differences, they matter. And documentation over meetings. This is this is kind of a specifics that the remote teams have. They do document more because they just need to exchange more information on a daily basis. So my perspective on the things, because I've been working in different sites with EORs as business representative, a company hiring through the EOR, and as a candidate, as an employee as well. So my top picks here is that the success depends on how open and flexible you are to learn new ways of working. It's rather the way of working rather than location. And it really matters how teams operate, how the businesses operate, and how the businesses help you get to this remote working setup and remote collaboration. Career growth also has some specifics for remote works because it's just different. It brings some complexity when you are not present every day in the office to your manager, to your team. You need to provide your manager and the team with visibility, with your impact, with your results, being more proactive with documenting your work, with communicating clearly, so not to get stuck on lots of meetings, but still be efficient and be effective on your job. So it really helps to check if the company provides tools, provides resources to support remote collaboration, remote communication. So what's important, I do recommend to ask before accepting an offer for a remote role. Specifically, if you get an offer where the company will be employing you through the local EOR, please be cautious to ask how your daily work would be managed, how your performance will be evaluated, how communication works with these remote distributed teams. What is the expectation around you being present on the business meetings, on business travel, how exactly it works, and how company helps, how company supports any challenges around them, how they do help managers build trust in such teams and build processes in such remote teams. This is very interesting to ask. If you see that there are tools, there are different rituals, specific formats of exchanging the information, specific formats of meetings that the companies hold, these are all green flags. This is a really good signals. Also, please ask about the benefits. Please double check on the contractual side, on the visa support side, if you need this, if this is applicable to you. Ask as many questions as you can in the beginning. This is considered as a really, good and adult position, professional approach to the setup, because you do really show yourself as quite an experienced, quite an knowledgeable side of such collaboration. And just my key takeaways of being on the both sides and having experienced as working with the EOR providers as a customer and as an employee and as a HR professional, people professional. I think that global hiring is here to stay, and the more benefits and the opportunities we try to find in this in this aspects is better for us. EOR setup is quite legitimate. It's legitimate and quite common model that I now see that businesses are utilizing in different industries, especially in tech industry. It really works. Remote work itself, remote work setup, remote work requires new skills, both from the employee and the employer, the manager, the company. This is really an intentional work, intentional improvements that we need to make to become more experienced, more used to the remote work. And it really brings real rewards. Building a global career from Finland is realistic. We have a bunch of examples, and I'm one of them. So I really hope that my insights and these points of view from the both sides, understanding what are the benefits for the businesses and what are the benefits for the candidates, for employees, really helps you see the more complex picture, the more complex understanding of how EORs work, and just to see and to get this understanding, if you are interested, if you are curious to learn more, if you are eager to try, or you say you would not be taking this risk and just let this opportunity be available for other people, it's up to you to decide. I hope I helped you to get a more informed decision on whether you are in or out of this EOR play. And this is basically the last slide that I had for today.
Thank you, Elizaveta. Very interesting approach, and I was also, catching ideas from you because I'm deeply in EOR. Many years on that, but it's always good to see this product and processes from other point of view. So thank you for sharing. And I'm jumping to the questions because we have a little bit more than 10 minutes and we will try to answer as much as possible. So let's make it quick. So, and I some question I will take from my own because they're related to North Bay, and some for you. So Yar asking, how much more expensive is it for a company to use EOR services comparing to hiring locally where they already have a legal entity? Elizaveta, I thought that maybe you can answer this question.
Well, it really depends on the country. So what we see, the different EORs, if they cover numerous locations, they do apply country-specific fees. So there are monthly fees that the company would pay for you for processing payroll, for processing social contributions. There are some one-time fees for, let's say, maybe onboardings, for offboardings, for visa support. It really depends. And the range varies. But I would say that dependent on the location for the company, that will be an extra cost of starting from $300-400 up to $1,000 per one EOR, dependent on the seniority of your role, on the complexity of the country regulations. So it really varies.
I would say that if there is like quite many people in one country, let's say more than 10, then probably it will be cheaper for company to open their own entity and hire their own accounting professional and operational professional. But if it's not that many, so probably it will be cheaper for them to have this EOR services. Akash asking, I have heard and read about NurseBabe. Can NurseBabe facilitate the interviews to apart from other things like accommodation and etc.? So I would say that NurseBabe is not providing accommodation. We are employer of record provider. So basically we providing this accounting services for companies who is located abroad from Finland. And we are not directly helping you to find a job, but we organize different events, webinars with recruiters, with coaches who help people to find a job. So subscribe to our event calendar not to lose that. But we unfortunately do not make it like a hand-to-hand experience for you. I do not really understand the question from Mohammed. If that rule applies to other countries as well, for example, a company from Sweden wants to hire from other countries. Yes, many companies from different countries, they allow remote work. So if they find some talent elsewhere than their own country, then probably they will hire this professional via employment of record services or some other options that Elizaveta mentioned in the beginning of the presentation. Vladimir is saying that deal company takes 10% of employee income for EOR. I'm not sure that this is the right information. I think that it's not a percentage still, it's something fixed.
Yeah, I would say it's how you negotiate with deal.
Okay.
Yeah, because they do provide companies with different pricing setups when you do provide them with the threshold of the countries that you are hiring to and the specific talent that you are hiring. So they do offer quite flexible pricing setups. I would say that from deal, I haven't seen the percentage pricing offering, and I did have some offerings from them, but I never saw the percentage. It's basically a fixed monthly fee that we paid, not anyhow linked to the salary.
I need to mention here also that Elizaveta has an experience with our employment of record services as well as other companies, because sometimes, company prefer to stay with one provider, even if there is a better option on the local markets. But yeah, so that's always nice that we have people on our events who has direct experience with us. So if you would like to ask something about Nordspay experience from Elizaveta, you can do that today. Elizaveta, maybe you can give an advice on that. Where can we find a valid remote jobs? Any legit platforms, recommendations? How you've been doing your job search?
Oh, this is an interesting question and a tough one. I would say that it's just different platforms that you review while just searching for the jobs. I wouldn't say that there is one aggregator of remote work, of remote jobs. However, there have been a few attempts to build such. I mean, available for free. No, available for free. You need to pay for this. Well, it's just LinkedIn or just search on Google. Boolean search on Google, when you just put the position that you look for and you put some keywords with remote, you can get access directly to the career sites, job sites of the companies if they do not post on LinkedIn. Maybe some regional specific for different countries, job platforms, job boards. But yeah, it's just manually looking and check what companies mean by posting remote jobs, whether they do provide remote setup within their countries or they are really open in hiring across countries. This information you usually might only get or from the job ad or speaking with a recruiter or from the career site of the company. So it's quite a job to get such insights and to get an understanding whether the companies are hiring fully remotely across countries or not. And yeah, you just dive deeper into each position and see, or just check the career side, because nowadays many companies they do provide fully remote setup. They put it as a benefit, they put it as an advantage, and it will be on top of their career page. Like, we hire across the globe and we do offer you remote opportunities in different countries. This what comes to my mind.
I will add that we basically recommend before starting the job search to make a research which countries, which platforms you need to use. So during this research stage, you will figure out the websites which you will follow, which you will check out like once a day, probably looking for fresh vacancies. And some countries, they also have, some specialization like gaming or finance or marketing. So you need to check it out and, make a target on your job search. And one good question, how does this EOR works? Does the employee or employer contact EOR? Elizaveta, I would like you to answer this question if that's possible. Because
well, I think that the most common thing is when the company if they provide such opportunities, they basically might have the EOR companies, the EOR providers that they do partner with. So if the companies are quite large, they would tell you during the interview stage, like, look, we do not have an entity in Finland, but we work with this EOR or that EOR, and you can Google and see if this is a well-known EOR or Nordspay, very well-known in Finland. So you just check and see whether you will be trusting such a provider. And in my own experience, I had a job offer from quite a small company, and they didn't have an EOR provider, and I did offer them to partner with a provider that I chose myself. Well, it was North Bay, and they were like up to it. But I am an HR professional, and this is my expertise. I do have an expertise in this field. I do have an understanding how it works, so I can be quite, convincing when I do propose EOR providers to the businesses. They are quite trusted providers. So you can show your knowledge and say, like, okay, if you as a company, you do not have a provider at the moment, okay, we do have such a provider here in Finland, and let's consider working with them, let's say. So it just works both ways. But most commonly, company would have somebody on their mind. In some countries, not. And this is fine. The both scenarios are fine.
I think that it's already time, but I would like to have one more question from Bunmi. Are referrals within the company very important in getting hired remotely? What do you think about that?
I mean, they are as much as important as with the other hiring. I mean, it really increases your chances to get hired if you get a referral from within the company as a candidate. Like being a candidate back in 2025, I was looking for a job. I was a candidate, and I saw that referral helped me regardless of the work setup, whether it was a remote job or a hybrid job or an office job. It's always good to have somebody from the inside for referrals. This is my insight. So if you have an opportunity, if you will go and look for referrals.
Maybe the last question. Do remote job mention EOR in the job ad and description, or it's more of a negotiation with the hiring manager? Elizaveta.
Well, I know some companies that they do post that they are partnering with EORs, or they do post on the contractual setups that they have. Some companies, they just transparently post in job ads. We do hire for employment contracts in the countries where we have offices, we have entities. In the other countries, we hire through EOR, or we can only offer you a freelancer contract. Quite a number of companies, they're being quite open with this, but I would definitely advise checking during the hiring process how it works. Maybe rather checking with recruiter, because hiring managers, they might be not even aware on how it works from these HR operational side. So better checking with recruiters, with talent acquisition team. They know better.
And Elizaveta, one more question from me. It just came up into my mind. So what are the chances to, push a little bit a company for employment of record, because it's important for you to stay legally in Finland, when they are setting in the description that they're working only with the contractors?
Oh, it's very hard to say. Well, I know one success case, and this is my story. Well, I did manage to do this. I think it depends if you are experienced enough to prove your worth to the company, to the business, and say, bring a case, bring a success story, bring a company, and say, negotiate, and say to the other side, to the company that you want to get hired to, guys, why not considering this EOR provider? It's fully compliant, it works really well, and just maybe have some trade-off. Basically, the employees, they are not paying from their salary for the EOR service. It's always a cost on the business. But if you want to be very flexible and really get the offer, you can negotiate that you, for example, partially compensate this EOR service, or fully compensate or whatever flexible you might get. But I would definitely go and ask for the coverage from the business first.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer. I just remembered that I have 2 more cases who started negotiation as a contractors, and then they managed to switch to employment of record during the interview process. So it's possible. And your case is also like one of them. Thank you very much for this presentation, and thank you everyone for staying for the very end of this discussion. It's our time to jump to the daycares and take our kids out there. And I wish all of you good luck with, now it's the best time, best season to land a job. So from the bottom of my heart, I wish you a good luck on that process. And I hope that our future webinars will help you with that as well. So see you. And yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.